Hi guys, this is I Am Stuck, and today we're going to learn a guide to survive in the trenches in World War One. So first of all, we'll start this off by what is the layout of a trench system. So in a trench system, there is 3 lines: the front line, the second line, and the third line. Ultimately, the most dangerous of these 3 is the front line. This is because of the fact that you are under constant pressure and it is near impossible to get to sleep. In the second line, your job is to supply artillery to the front line. Finally, in the third line, you have to supply food and artillery to the second line in order to give it to the front line. These lines always change so that when in the front line, you don't lose your mind. Finally, when off work, you are able to do whatever you want in France, including drinking, partying, and trying to pull the French girls. In addition, when in your front line, keep your head down. You do not want it to get blown off by some Germans. So, the conditions in trenches and how can you survive these conditions. So the most common problem in the trenches was trench foot. This is because if the ground is wet and you walk around with no socks or don't look after your feet, you are bound to end up like many of the others who have suffered this awful disease. Another thing you have to watch out for is trenches is rats. These revolting little creatures scutter around trenches constantly and thrive off wet, dirty conditions. For hygienic reasons, we highly recommend that you keep your distance. Finally, due to the weaponry advances in World War One, you have to make sure that you can both use and understand the dangers of these weapons. Weapons like the machine gun have the ability to kill many people at once, and snipers are able to pick off any soldiers who pop their head up for even a second. This said, if you use these weapons effectively, they will become your best friend. So, what will you be spending your time doing? When on duty, you will be expected to do many things, including things like fixing barbed wire, trench raids, and supplying artillery and food to the first line in the trenches. This shows that even when you're not actually fighting, every soldier will have their duties to complete. Some may simply be ordered to keep watch, some of the more technical advanced will have to fix communication cables, and the worst jobs include having to take out the smelly latrine waste. So then, along with all these duties, which are of course less pleasurable, you can also have a fair amount of free time. You can do anything and explore the local area, play football, or anything that is physically possible. This of course is a benefit of helping out in the trenches. So, although there are many negatives in trench life, there are also a few upsides. So, most people do join the trenches in first because of patriotism. Now, this is where you love your country, of course, and you think you'll kill yourself for your country. Now, but when in the trenches, there are some good things about it. Firstly, it is sociable. You're with your fellow comrades. There's humour. It's a funny place to be. Thirdly, you'll have leisure time. In fact, you will spend 60% of your time out of the trenches. Next, it's an adventure. As well as visiting a new country, this whole trip will be like a roller coaster for you. And finally, there are many comforts in the army. The food for one is exceptional, and luxuries such as chocolate and alcohol will be provided. This is actually probably better than at the normal home in World War One, because the rations were quite good, and lots of soldiers actually put on some waste. So, thanks for watching. I hope you take all of this into advice and stay good in the trenches. Bye.